my phone. My name's on it.
We could switch so people off.
Sean, they put us in different holding pens, so yeah, so your advice was heeded.
It's the longest we've gone without talking to each other. It's the longest we've gone without talking to each other. In a while.
Well, we're not in any meetings where we're 2/3 of the quorum.
Do y'all need anything? Are y'all good?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you all doing your talk to the same place we are?
No, we're at Portsmouth.
I thought y'all moved that for tonight. I heard there was an issue or something. No,
I guess we'll find out Friday.
you been done. Are y'all going Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
We were going to do that, but then y'all did it, and then except for the so we're not going to solve it. That's right. We share something good. Next time. I'm on the apple. I'll even say, discuss what Frank always says. He did this, somebody there again, he was saying, look at kids at the time. Proclamation. Yeah, as governor.
You just gotta make sure that
Yeah.
that your property.
Yeah. We could plan it. I'll run up to visit Roland or something. He lives out in the border. We'll have a fun time with Roland. I'll say things like this. Oh, wait for it. You're good. Yeah.
Sounds good to you. Come back and like special sessions.
Yeah, the governor's gone. I just don't know. I think Canel's trying to tell us whenever he's.
Let's fix that.
What was that? Why was it an issue? Yes, sir. What about you? You're attending tonight. I'm going to.
You said it over there.
I'm going to Country Delight. Okay. Let's do it. I guess the town is the capital.
Oh, cool. We're doing a capital between the things we want to get through. I'm sure we will go by there.
So that's some reception. And we're honoring Sean Bird at UCO. Well, if I can get out of it. That's the pregnancy.
Good, as far as I know.
Well, you would know if it wasn't.
Well, that's part of why tomorrow she's definitely tomorrow. She has to drive be there.
This worked out. It's good. Because it's okay.
Don't sell yourself short out there. Do it up here or at the podium. Okay.
Well, I saw you clean shaven, so I figured.
Somebody's got that one.
I better, yeah.
It's good to see it.
Welcome, everybody. Ooh, you know how to draw a crowd.
This is you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, thanks everybody for joining today. Just want to make a couple comments. Number one, this is a federal problem that Congress has got to fix, and I think all of America, myself, the state leaders I've talked to, the Oklahomans I've talked to, are asking, when is this going to end? And we just want to continue to encourage Congress to fix this problem. I'm proud of the Oklahoma delegation. There's been about 13 votes, and Oklahoma delegation has voted to open the government every single time. It's what's called a clean CR, meaning it was Biden-era funding levels that they're just asking to continue to fund the government, and 13 times they're short the votes to pass it. So I think they're 6 votes short right now in the Senate, and we have been preparing for this for the last 3 weeks in anticipation, as we knew that this was happening, and we're starting to think about December 1st as well, as some other things become unfunded. So we have some great partners, the church, the food banks around the state have been preparing for the last few weeks. We were on a conference call this morning, and just encouraging Oklahomans to go to beaneighbor.org to find resources that they need, and then also encouraging the churches and some of those nonprofits to make sure that they sign up there as well to deliver services to Oklahomans in the most need. So with that, I want to welcome everybody to the November 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Contingency Review Board. I'll now call the meeting to order. Beverly, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Kyle Hilbert.
Here.
President Pro Tem of the Senate, Lonnie Paxton.
Here.
Governor J. Kevin Stitt. And OMS Interim Director David Ostrom. And we do have a quorum, sir.
I'm here. Thank you so much. And have we followed all the requirements of the Open Meetings Act?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Now to the remarks part. I should have done the first part first, sorry. Okay, so we now come to agenda item number 5, and that is the thought to approve $7.8 million worth of emergency funds to be available to some of the food insecurity. Is there any discussion? Or is there a motion?
Go ahead, discussion.
Go ahead. Give the motions, it's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Governor. If you will, can I make a few comments before
Sure.
making a motion? I just want to say these are truly unprecedented times. I agree with everything that you said. It's really unfortunate that the Democrats, particularly in the United States Senate, will not take care of business. This is really an unforced, it's a man-made problem that we're sitting here, and it doesn't have to be this way. And the several things, we're doing what we can to help address it with the motions that we're considering today. I know $1 million going to the food banks. Some have said, well, that's not enough or doesn't go far enough. But to your point, Governor, the nonprofits, the churches that have stepped up as well to help supplement these funds, I think go a long way. I know on my way here, I passed a church where there was a long line out the door of folks in line receiving those food packages. And there's been a lot of conversations about the $1 million a week going to the food banks. But I think another important thing that is worth discussing is the $72,000 update to the software to allow for non-federal deposits to SNAP recipients. One thing that was lost, I think there were some Democrats in the state of Oklahoma who called for a special session in Oklahoma to fund SNAP benefits, but I don't believe they realized, because they didn't ask, that we actually cannot make deposits onto SNAP cards. Even if we wanted to today, we as a state cannot make those deposits onto the SNAP cards. And so what this action does today, should the Contingency Review Board approve it, is it gives us options as a state moving forward in these unprecedented times. And Governor, I appreciate your leadership as chairman of the Contingency Review Board to put this together, to give us as many options as possible as a state, and I believe this is the appropriate action to take today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have the motion?
Sure. And with that, I move to declare an emergency exists that was not foreseen or reasonably foreseeable by the legislature as set forth in Title 62 OS, Section 139.48.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Thank you for the second. Any discussion? Beverly, please call the roll.
Speaker Hilbert.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Paxton.
Aye.
Governor Stitt.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries. Is there a second motion?
Governor, I'd like to make a couple quick comments as well.
Yes.
Well, I'll make the second motion, but, to kind of tag on to what the speaker talked about, one thing I've noticed is every time there is some type of a crisis, I think we have an opportunity to look at the programs that we're dealing with. And I was surprised because I really hadn't ever paid that close of attention to how many Oklahomans are actually receiving SNAP benefits. I mean, you compare the state of Oklahoma with the rest of the nation, we're in the top 4 in the nation as far as percentage-wise, number of our citizens that are on these SNAP benefits. So it's made me kind of question why. There's other states that have lower per capita incomes than we do, have a lot lower rates of their citizens on the SNAP benefit. So that is something that I know members of the Senate have talked to me about, and also some citizens have talked about, something that we need to be looking into further. But for now, this is an action we need to be taking to help take care of the situation at hand, but that is something for the future. So with that, I move to certify in writing to the governor and the director of the Office of Emergency Management Enterprise Services the findings of facts submitted by the Oklahoma Department of Human Services in accordance with 62 OS Section 139.48, paragraph 1.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Speaker Hilbert.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Paxton.
Aye.
Governor Stitt.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. Is there a third motion?
Yes, I move to authorize the governor to spend up to $1 million per week from the state emergency fund until the emergency ends or the fund is depleted, under the condition that 1, weekly disbursements may be made after all funds from the previous week have been used. 2, the Oklahoma Department of Human Services administer the disbursements and may allocate up to 2/3 to the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma and 1/3 to the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma. And 3, the food banks use the funds only to buy or distribute food or other direct nutritional assistance to elderly, disabled, and child recipients of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program residing in Oklahoma and who lost access to benefits due to the ongoing federal shutdown.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Thank you for the motion and the second. Please call the roll.
Speaker Hilbert.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Paxton.
Aye.
Governor Stitt.
Aye. Motion carries. Is there a fourth motion?
Governor, I move to authorize the governor to spend an additional $72,000 from the state emergency fund for costs directly associated with providing assistance of relief incurred by the Oklahoma Department of Human Services.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? Beverly, please call the roll.
Speaker Hilbert.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Paxton.
Aye.
Governor Stitt.
Aye. Motion carries. Is there a fifth motion?
Yes, Governor, I move to authorize the chairman and his staff to memorialize these motions and execute any documents necessary to effectuate the votes of the board.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Speaker Hilbert.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Paxton.
Aye.
Governor Stitt.
Aye. Motion carries. Seeing no other business before us, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Can you keep the pen?
Yeah, we have time for 3 questions. You can come up here if you want.
1, 2, 3, they're all yours.
Hey, good point on the 72,000.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take a question if you guys don't mind. Versus this state of emergency fund, how are they different? How are they different? What's the difference in money?
So the emergency fund is authorized by just what we just did. The foundation fund is something totally different. It's through the state law, and it takes 2/3 of the legislature, it takes a special section to access it, so it's different rules of that. This one is just the 3 of us can access, and so it's the first thing we need to get done. And the speaker made it very point, so he broke down the $72,000 we just authorized allows us now to be able to add money to those EBT cards, and so that's something like it might be the longest, but it's the most significant because the others did not affect, depending on the timing on the other shutdown, where it was 35 days, didn't affect SNAP benefits that are so critical to so many people across the country.
Governor, you mentioned other issues that might pop up. One that is right now is some people not getting paid, like TSA agents and air traffic controllers. Does the state have any plan to address that?
So the air traffic control, again, that's a federal issue. We don't even, those aren't on our payroll. That's nothing that we would address. We're talking about December 1st, you're talking about military, Medicaid, there's other things that will potentially pop up. You also have child care that's going to be affected, that's going to come in December. Again, we don't anticipate, we think that Washington, D.C. will fix this. Congress has to fix it. But again, it's one of the longest right now. So
Governor, do you expect any more furloughs at state agencies like DHS?
The thing that I directed the agencies to do, I think is very important. At DHS, they took any of the 50,000 and below direct to care employees are not being harmed in this. It's from 50 to 100,000. They're taking those at 2 days in a 2-week period, and we're furloughing them, and then over 100,000 with very few amount, mostly executives, are furloughed at 3 days over a 2-week period. So we really are trying to make sure that the actual services that we're responsible to deliver to Oklahomans who need us, and caseworkers, those will not be furloughed. And so, but if it continues, sure. I mean, there's it's why we're fiscally disciplined. That's why we're conservative in our budgeting processes every year. It's why the speaker, the pro tem, and I are always cautious about the amount that we grow government, because we want to make sure that we have a fully funded savings account, which we do right now. It's okay.
Is there a point in time or a date where you would consider calling a special session to tap into that rainy day fund?
We're going to monitor that, and I think over the next couple of weeks, I think it'll be clear if we need to do something like that. Again, the churches, the nonprofits, there are still people, 75% of the people had a little bit of money left on their EBT card going into the month. That's still allowed to be used. You saw the Trump administration release today that 50% of the money would be to fund, which we still are waiting on guidance. We don't know if that's just going to be added to a card. We don't know if it's going to be prioritized to certain individuals. We just don't know yet. But again, and I think the pressure's mounting. Remember, Congress needs to fix this, and I think pressure is continuing to mount.
Mr. President, give you guys a chance to let the governor catch his breath.
Thank you.
You noted that Oklahoma is like the top 4, you said, in SNAP usage. I don't think it's a huge surprise that Oklahoma's a high poverty state. And I'm curious, as you guys look at 2026 session, what priorities, what policies, what ideas can be discussed to help more people climb out of poverty in Oklahoma?
Well, going back to your question about where we're at in that ranking, we're also joining the top 4 by Oregon, who is not a high poverty state. So it's a question. There's states like Mississippi that have a lower per capita income than we do, that are way down there. Is that we're way up there. My question is why? I don't know the answer to that. That's why I noticed that we started looking at all this. We're running about 17% of our population using these EBT cards. It's about 11% of the national average. So why is that? So that's why I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm just saying that's something I noticed, and I want to dig in to find out why.
But my question is about poverty. And my question is,
what
what priorities would the capital priority we have here?
So here, I'll tell you, I think it's great you mentioned Mississippi. One of the things, if we want to break poverty for the long-term cycle, we got to make sure we're improving our education outcomes. And one of the things Mississippi did is drastically improve their reading scores. For years and years and years, people all around the country said, thank God for Mississippi, because they were always 50s in education, no matter how you scored it. Well, today, they're in the top 10 in their early childhood literacy. And it's because they invested in early childhood, they got back to the science of reading, and they invested in that. And so, when you look at where we are in our reading scores as a state, there's a lot of conversation about education. There's a lot of great things we've invested in to improve our teacher recruitment, teacher pipeline, teacher pay in the state of Oklahoma. But now we have to start talking about how can we get better outcomes in reading, because if our kids can't read, of course it shouldn't be a surprise that they're impoverished when they get older and they're not having good jobs. And so if you want to talk about long-term, I think that's it. Investing in early childhood and making sure our kids are getting high-quality education.
Yeah, the Mississippi miracle real quick. The one thing you did mention is that Mississippi ended ago, we saw improvement, and we stopped there.
Yeah, I think it needs to be a big part of the conversation going into the legislature next year. Look, somebody with anecdotes or just someone with an opinion, if you look at data, the data shows that worked in Mississippi. And so I think we want to make data-driven decisions. That's something that we should consider doing. To your point, it worked in Oklahoma. We had better outcomes when we had that. If a child is behind in fourth grade, they're statistically more likely to be behind in the sixth grade, statistically more likely to be behind in high school. And so if you don't catch them up early on, while we all know people who were anomalies and they broke from the system, most likely they're never going to catch up. And so I think we're doing a disservice to children if they're behind in the third grade, if we don't keep them in the third grade to make sure they have that chance. And I think that's going to be a big part of the conversation next session.
You, sir? Are you for ending social promotion like that?
I'm for ending us being 50% education, so we're gonna work hard to make sure that's accomplished.
What about raising the minimum wage? Does that help?
I don't think,
Hey, we do.
yeah, if you look at the tax rolls and who pays income taxes, there's basically nobody making minimum wage. I have kids that work on my farm that come out of high school, so I try to pay them minimum wage, they would never show up. So the minimum wage thing, I think, is something that, I'm not gonna support the way that state question is written. It's gonna be very detrimental to the business community, and it's not really gonna help those people out, it's gonna increase the unemployment rate. So I'm going for that.
All right, thank you guys. You're so generous.
Got anything else in here?